पागे ते मंत्रथी तो सद्बुद्धि जागे ते मंत्र जेना मुखथी जपाय तेना थकी तो जमनाशी जाय। श्री स्वामिनारायण जे कहे से भावे भावे पण मुक्ति लेशे। षडक्षरो छे षट शास्त्र सार ते तो उतारे भव सिंधु पार। चले ऋतुमां दिवसे दिशाए सर्व क्रियामां समरो सदाए। पवित्र दे अपवित्र दे ते नाम नित्य समरो जस्नेह। जड़े करीने तन में लजाय आनाम दिया अंतर शुद्ध थाय। जेने महापाप कर्या अनंत जेने पीड्या ब्राह्मण देनु संत ते स्वामिनारायण नाम लेता लाजी मरे छे मुक्ति कहेता। श्री स्वामिनारायण नाम सार छे पापने दे प्रजड़ावनार। पापी गणु अंतर होय जेनु पड्या विना केम रहे ज तेनु। पड्या विना केम रहे ज तेनु। સર્વાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય। નમન હું કરું વિશ્વ પાળને કરગરી કહું ભક્તિ બાળને। અરજ મારી ઉરમાં ધરો વિભત મારી શ્રી હરિહરો। અવર આચરો મારે નથી સર્વજનને શું કહું કદી। કઠણ કાળમાં આપજો ધણી સુખદ શામળા મુક્ત નામણી। અમર નામથી આસકારી રસિક રાખજો લાજ મારી। પ્રણત પાડજો વિશ્વના વિભુ દીન દયાળ છો સર્વના પ્રભુ। વિમળ મૂળથી
સજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય. લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
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 સખાને સંગે અતિ ઉજળંગે
સખાને સંગે અતિ ઉજળંગે
ગીત મધુરા ગાતો રે.
વાલો ગીત મધુરા ગાતો રે. વાલો
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
કેસરીએ વાગે કસુંબલ પાગે
કેસરીએ વાગે કસુંબલ પાગે
કેસર રંગ મારા દોરે.
કેસર રંગ મારા તોરે. વાલો
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
ફૂલડાના તોરણે ગજરાની ટોપી
ફૂલડાના તોરણે ગજરાની ટોપી
ફૂલોને હારે ફૂલાતો રે.
ફૂલોને હારે ફૂલાતો રે. વાલો
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
નિષ્કુળાનંદનો સ્વામી સાંભળ્યો
નિષ્કુળાનંદનો સ્વામી સાંભળ્યો
આવે અમીરસ પાદો રે.
આવે અમીરસ પાતો રે. વાલો
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે. વાલો
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
લટકાડો લટકંટો રે આવે મોહન મોરલી વાળો રે.
ચડ્યા રે મોહન
ચડ્યા રે મોહન ચડ્યા રે મોહન જીવું છું રસીલા તારા મુખડાને જોતી.
અંગૂઠડી
હઠ કરશો તો બહુ ખીજાશે બાપો.
જગજાજીના કરો સમજીને,
જગજાજીના કરો સમજીને,
શ્યામ અંગૂઠી આપો ની અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો. આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
હવે આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
બનશે ભાઈ તમારા તમને માટે ખોલો મુઠ્ઠી.
અરે લડશે ભાઈ તમારા તમને માટે ખોલો મુઠ્ઠી.
શાન શરફાનાથી આપો,
શાન શરફાનાથી આપો.
એ મારી અંગૂઠીની અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો. આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મને આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
આ ઘડીએ અંગૂઠી લઈને જો ગલી નાસી જાશો.
આ ઘડીએ અંગૂઠી લઈને જો ગળી નાસી જાશો.
દેવી પડશે દિયર અંગૂઠી.
દેવી પડશે દિયરે અંગૂઠી.
પછી બહુ બસાસો દિયરજી દૂર ન કરજો.
પરમજી વાર ન કરજો.
આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મને આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
આજ તકી ઘનશ્યામ તમે જો આવો કરશો અન્યાય.
આજ તકી ઘનશ્યામ તમે જો આવો કરશો અન્યાય.
ચોરીનો ગુનો શિર ઠરશે.
ચોરીનો ગુનો શિર ઠરશે.
નહીં કોઈ આપે કન્યાની અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો. આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મને આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મન કન્યા ગાનમાં રહેશો ભવાકો બ્રહ્મચારી.
કન્યા વાલમાં દેશો મને આપો બ્રહ્મચારી.
ગૃહસ્થની ઘરજીમાં તમને
ગૃહસ્થની ગણતીમાં તમને
ગમશે નહીં સંસારીની અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો. આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મને આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
લક્ષણવંતા લાલચ સોતો કન્યા ક્યાંથી જડશે.
લક્ષણવંતા લાલ થશો તો કન્યા ક્યાંથી ચડશે.
ઘરમુખી ઘનશ્યામ પછી તો
ઘરમુખી ઘનશ્યામ પછી તો
મનમાં કરવું પડશે અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો. આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
મને આપો મારી અંગૂઠી.
આપો શ્રી ઘનશ્યામ અંગૂઠી અવિનાશી અવિકારી.
આપો શ્રી ઘનશ્યામ અંગૂઠી અવિનાશી અવિકારી.
ભવન કમર પર પ્રીત કરી.
બદન કમર પર પ્રીત કરી.
જગદીશાનંદ બલિહારીની અરજી દૂર ન કરજો. પરમજી વાર ન કરજો.
भवसम्भव भीति वेदनम् सुख संपत करुणानिकेतनम् व्रतदान तप क्रिया फलम् सहजानंद गुरुं भजे सदा सहजानंद गुरुं भजे सदा ओम अवतारिणे श्री स्वामिनारायणाय नमो नमः ओम श्री हरि कृष्णाय घनश्यामाय नमो नमः ओम श्री सहजानंद स्वामिने नमो नमः ओम श्री पूर्ण पुरुषोत्तमाय नमो नमः बोलो स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय। So we're at the last Vachanamrit of Karyani chapter. This Vachanamrit is a little difficult to understand, and I guess even more difficult to explain. So I'm going to try to do my best. In the summer of the year 1877, on Kartik Sud Punam, which was apparently the 20th of November in 1820, Swami Sri Sajanji Maharaj was sitting on a decorated bedstead on the veranda outside of east-facing rooms of Rasta Kacha Darbar in Karyani. He was wearing a white kesh and a white doubly made of cheat. He is also tied a white feto with bokani around his head. A sabha of Paramhans as well as three bhaktos from various places had gathered before him. So, we're aware that every Vachanamrit there's a description of the sabha. And, before I learned all of this stuff, I always wondered what a chitni dagli was or what a bokani was. Do you guys know what that is by any chance? You guys know what a bokani is?
That's what you put on your ears.
Close. Anyone here? Oh. So what month are we in? We're in Kartik, right? When was Kartik month? Huh? It just passed. This is Maksar, right? First month of Gujarati calendar. So at that time it's cold. So Maharaj was, sitting outside in the cold, and bokani is this scarf that goes all around your face and covers. It's like a monkey cap kind of thing, but it doesn't cover the forehead. But he's already wearing a feto on the forehead. And chitni dagli, so dagli is a vest, and cheat means kind of like polka dot type.
Small print.
Yeah, small print, right? So just something to kind of do, to keep in mind, do Dhyan of Maharaj while we're doing this katha. Then Shri Maharaj said, please begin a question-answer discussion. So he has now asked us to begin a question-answer discussion, and I think that's what we're going to do before we move on any further. My question is, how many bodies is our body made up of? 3 bodies, right? Does everyone understand that? What's up? Okay, there's 3, we have one body, right? But within this one body, there's 3 separate bodies that make up this one body. Get it? So does anyone know which these 3 bodies are? Try it. Huh?
The English example they use gross, subtle, and
Causal.
causal.
Right? Gross, subtle, and causal. And In Gujarati, it's called Sthula, Sukshma, and Kara. Usually, when it comes to these tattva-related talks, my brain gets turned off just because it gets too deep. But then, this one actually interested me a whole lot as I kept on reading the Vajramat. I started to see the connection that Maharaj is trying to make, at least through my eyes. And so there's 3 different bodies. Does everyone know what the sthula body is made up of? What is the sthula body made up of? Meaning the gross body. What is this gross body made up of? Are they?
Majority water.
We're not talking about the earth. The 5, what's the booth in? 5 elements, right? The 5 elements, which, earth, sky, water. These are the 5 elements that this body is made up of. That's the sthula, that's the gross form. And then you have the sukshma form. Sukshma by definition means, subtle or small, tiny, minute, that we can't really see.
The soul.
But that has it's very powerful. So what is the sukshma form made up of?
Soul.
No, that's not the soul. So there's total of 20, let's try to work backwards. There's total of 24. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this just so if we don't understand this, we're not going to really get the gist of the Vajrayana. So there are a total of 24 different tattvas, elements that this body is made up of, correct? Do we remember this? 5 elements and then 5 senses, right? And then the 5 what we call pran and 5 karmendriyo, and then 4 antakaran, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, and then the 25th is maya. Does that ring a bell to everybody? Yeah. Right?
Wait, how many? 25, how did you get 25?
5 कर्मेंद्रियो, ज्ञान 5 ज्ञानेंद्रियो, 5 पंच प्राण, पंच भूत અને 4 અંતઃકરણ અને માયા. Right? બરાબર? So you have these 25 things that make up this body, and we already said this gross body is made up of the 5 elements. So we keep that on one pile. Then you move on to the subtle part. The subtle body is mostly made up of, what do you think it's mostly made up of? What's minute? What's something you can't see in this part of the body?
So
The soul.
Okay, but it's not made up of that. Anything else? Of these 24 elements. Was the soul part of these elements? No, right?
But you can't see any of them.
you can see any of them except
no.
the Panchbhut.
Right, no, Panchbhut, but karmen, you can see the karmendriyo, right? Like
But the subtle body does have that?
no, it doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to distinguish between the subtle.
No, he does.
No, not
So
mine.
you can
Yeah.
see the sub. So you can.
Yeah, it's like this big.
So the subtle, the minute part is usually, we're going to stick with man, buddhi, cetana, ahankar, what we call the antakaran, right? That is mainly made up of the subtle part, the subtle body, right? And then you have the causal body, which is the karan sharir, and that is maya. So let's talk about the subtle part. The gross part we all see, get up in the morning and stay in front of the mirror and appreciate our own bodies, right? Do makeup and whatever else. Then you have your subtle body, which is the man. So let's talk about the mind. The reason why this is important is, as we'll learn, how do we eradicate Maya? And what is the root cause of our birth, right? Which we know as Maya. And Maharaj will discuss that here. So mind, the mind's capacity is kind of endless. That's where what mind tells us to do, this is how our indriyos, which is the gross body, does. If there's no direction from the mind, we will not pursue. Our ideas will not pursue that. So right away, we know that we're in control of our mind, along with the other subtle part. But this gross body itself is nothing. Is not capable of doing anything, although a lot of us believe, and many times we act upon it as well, that this gross body is everything, but it's not. And so we start at mind. The mind is capable of doing certain things. And the mind is reinforced by buddhi, man buddhi, right? By the knowledge, the intellect. So mind will do, mind will say, hey, I want to go to India. And then buddhi is what gives you the rationale. Whether you want to, fly there, you want to take a ship, or why do you want to go there? That's what gives you the ability to judge. That's what the buddhi does. And then you have your chit. Chit is where a lot of this gets stored in a temporary, considered as a temporary file. And this is where a lot of repetition occurs. And you start thinking of, when I went to India last time, this is exactly what happened. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to avoid. All three of these will sink. We were just talking about it, right? When we went to India, it was cold and blah, blah, blah. I don't prefer going during the cold. No, I prefer doing. So a lot of that is stored in the chit. Chit is, to give you another example, think of a computer, a desktop. A desktop itself, that's the gross body. The messages that are sent, right? When you click on the start button, another screen pops up. But you can't see the process that's going inside. That's ran by I'm not a computer scientist, but I'll try to do my best. But that's ran by the data, which is the mind that's kind of sending the signals. The signals that are being sent, are being processed, are considered that as the mind. And then you have your intellect, so the rationale behind it. So when you get errors, the computer is like, wait a second, you're not doing something right, let's change this. Or this is the way it's supposed to be done. So that's the buddhi aspect of it. And the chit aspect of it is like the RAM, where a lot of this is stored. Or if you open up an internet file, it gets stored in a temporary file. Until you store that file onto your hard drive, it will not be stored. And that hard drive is the Karan Sharir. So the hard drive is the cause. You can get rid of everything else, but if you have the hard drive, can you not make another computer exactly like it? Does that make sense? Karan Sharir. You have the Karan Sharir, you get rid of everything else. You get rid of this body, you get rid of the subtle body, the man buddhi chitta ahankar. But if you have that Karan Sharir, which is our hard drive, that is wrapped around the soul. This is how and this is the only thing, when we die, everything else dies, but that hard drive remains. And that's how we take birth again. A lot of our inner desires, that are truly there, they blossom again when we take another birth. Because it's still in the hard drive. It's just another computer that was created. Another example is, think of something like a type of food that we like. There are certain foods at any given time of the day they're offered to you, we'll take it. Because that's just something that we love so much. On the other days, we'll be like, I feel like eating pizza today. I feel like eating Taco Bell or Indian food, maybe not so much. But, those desires that we get, those are usually mind. But the desire that one food always catches your attention, and you always want it, irrespective of day, time, night, day, that desire is deep within. That's in the hard drive. So if you can think of a food or an item that draws your attention that much, think of that as Maya that's wrapped around in your hard drive. Okay. Another example, you have, we'll use the guys, a guy liking a girl, liking a guy. right? It's hard to, or I'm not even going to start talking about the mind of a girl. No one has been able to describe it. But in terms of the guys, guy liking a girl, you see a good-looking girl that passes by, our mind starts is like, oh, she's really good-looking, she's this, she's that. If you just leave it at that, then the chances of you thinking of this girl are a lot less. As long as you just leave it at that. But then, let's say you saw her in the morning, all day long, you started thinking, and you start rationalizing. I like this girl because of this reason. She had a pretty face, or she had a pretty personality, or this and that. That rationalization occurs in your buddhi, right? So that your mind thought of it, and then your buddhi rationalizes, and then when you go home, you meet with your buddies in the evening, and you start talking about her. And you're like, oh man, I saw this girl, and she was this, and this, I really like her, blah, 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 blah. That, all the entire day since you thought about her, you put her into your chitta now, which is still temporary. If you stop there, that's okay. When you die, she'll die with you. But if you continue, if you go a step further, and you just start meditating on her, right? And this is a lot of times how, love evolves. I'm not speaking from experience by any means, but this is a lot of times how love evolves. If you continue, then that temporary file that's in your chip will get stored into your hard drive, and that will now become the Maya. Similar things with, as opposed to there's just another girl, you saw her, she goes by, nothing happens, and you don't even think about what we've talked about. Shravan, Manan, Nididhyas, and Sakshatkar. In this case, Sakshatkar is something else, but that's what it is. Instead of Shravan, you looked at her, and in your mind, you kept on thinking about her, and you studied her, and she gets, graved onto your chit, or then if you continue, then onto your Karan study, the hard drive that we discussed.
Yeah.
Where does Ahankar play into all this?
I'll get to that. So the last example is the hobbies, right? So the hobbies that you like to do. There are certain things that you want. If you ask Pawan, he's gonna want to play basketball 24/7. That's something that he likes. I'm judging that. I don't know if that's true or not, but from what I know, right? But let's say you saw a basketball or a baseball game, and then you're like, oh, I want to play baseball today, or I want to play football. That's not something that you want to enjoy on a daily basis, but at that given time, you felt like doing it, and you will do it. But there are certain hobbies that you will always want to do. Those hobbies are engraved around your Karan Sharif. That's where the Maya comes in. And in terms of coming to Isha's question, Ahankar, right? Ahankar is your self-existence. Ahankar can also be basically the ego, but the ego of yourself. So you've taken all of these things, brought it into Chit, and now you attach yourself with it. And that attachment then gets, fully firmed onto the hard drive. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Sthula, Sukshma, Karan these are the three different bodies. And so Karan Sharir is the Maya that we are trying to eradicate. Right? So then Munis asked a question amongst themselves for quite some time. Where the topic of the three bodies of the Jeev, so Sthula, Sukshma, Karan, and three bodies of Ishwar, Virat, Kshetratma, and Avyakrut. So Virat, Kshetratma, and Avyakrut is the same thing as our Sthula, Sukshma, and Karan, but that of Ishwar, meaning the Devloks. Then Sriji Maharaj then commented, the Karan body is the Maya of the Jeev. As we said, the Karan body, the causal body, the hard drive, that is the Maya of the Jeev. And that same Karan body evolves into Sthula and Sukshma body.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You said you're gonna eradicate the causal body.
Right.
What happens to subtle?
That gets eradicated. And when we die, that's eradicated. The causal body is the only thing that stays with the jiva, with the soul.
Well, subtle body also stays with the soul too.
Not that I know of, but if you're saying, maybe yeah. I thought that only Karan body stays.
No.
સ્થૂળ ને સૂક્ષ્મ બે અહીંયા ને અહીંયા ચાલે છે ખાલી કારણ શરીર જ.
How does sukshma body go away?
No, when we die, it goes away with us.
No.
It doesn't. Okay, I guess not. I thought it was just the Karan sharir, the Karan body, the Maya that is, wrapped around the jeev. That's what.
Subtle body is the one who feels suffering after the death.
How can that mind feel
Gross body suffers the pain or happiness or whatnot during this time. But after that, all the suffering or happiness is suffered by the subtle body.
No, but how
subtle
can
body, if the soul is not with it, how would it survive?
No, but what I'm saying is, how can our mind and our buddhi feel the pain when we're not there? I don't think the subtle body.
It's the subtle body.
No, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that the subtle body.
Have you read the Amrit?
No, I haven't.
It says in that one. Huh? So the video. Yeah, subtle body is the one who goes away after 13 days of your death.
Well, okay, maybe the 13-day spirit, but it doesn't carry on. It doesn't linger on.
It does.
Like,
After that it goes away. I mean, goes wherever he has to go. And who do you think pain suffers the pain? When let's say the guy did he did very very bad.
the soul.
Bad karma. Bad karma.
Right.
Soul has nothing. It doesn't feel anything.
No, but it's wrapped around in the Karan body, right?
But Karan body is not seen. It cannot feel any pain.
No, but Karan body itself is the Maya. That's where all those stuff is wrapped around. So I
What
don't
I'm
know.
saying is, if let's say the soul goes to hell, and they say, okay, they put the soul into the Roro
right.
Maharo Roman, but that's right? Who suffers that pain?
No, but then don't you get a separate body
But
there?
that's several body.
But I thought they each nerd, like when we go to Akshardham, right? Maharaj gives us a separate type of body. That's, that type of body.
That's body, the
different.
whole thing. That's the whole body. When you go to Akshardham, it's like whole, like whatever we have here.
Right, but
I think in the Yamdan days, Nishkuranand Swami said, like when you go to the hell, ready to, take, they ready
Punishment.
to take your revenge
Yeah, to punish
on you, then basically they give you the body. I mean, his body is like this.
It
but
says it forms the body
Right.
as starting from 10th day
Right.
to 13 days already forms everything, and then it goes.
It's like when you go to Akshardham, you have Divya body.
That's
But
it.
when you go to the north, you have body like this.
That's a subtle body.
But
Yeah.
only
Sukshma
difference
body.
is this body like
આટલા અંગૂઠા એવું કે છે, અંગૂઠા જેટલું body હોય.
But I don't think it's the same Sukshma body that we have here.
when they bite you, the blood everything comes out. You can see it.
Yeah.
You feel the pain.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
after a few seconds, it comes back again same as before.
Yeah.
But you are they
But
keep doing
it's a
whatever.
small body, subtle body, Sukshma body.
But is it the same body as we have here? I don't think
I
it's the
don't
same.
know.
Like
I
right
haven't
now,
seen it. I
right
just-
now, Maru je antakaran che, right? Is that the same antakaran that'll be with me if I die and let's say go to hell?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was just the Karan sharir that goes with you. Because Ayya Maharaj says, it's the same Karan body that evolves into Sthula and Sukshma. So if the Sukshma body goes with it, then he will say it's the Karan and the Sukshma body that evolves into Sthula, right?
I don't know, this is what I read, and that's why I was asking you what happens to subtle body.
Well, that's my understanding of this one there. And then, so therefore, all three bodies, the Sthula, Sukshma, and Karan, can be said to be of Maya of the Jeev, right? In the same way, Virachutratma and Avyakta can be said to the Maya of Ishwar. So now the question rises, how do we eradicate this Maya? How do we eradicate this hard drive that's wrapped around our soul, which is the limiting factor between us and Bhagwan, right? So there are 4 different ways that Maharaj talks about, and the karma body and the Maya of the Jeev is attached so strongly to the Jeev that they cannot be separated by any means whatsoever. We already know it's probably the hardest thing to separate, because Bhagavan says so. He said they cannot be separated by any means whatsoever. It's a very strong statement that he's putting up here. And then, however, so then now he tells us, like, unless if a person attains the company of a son. So sant samagam is number 1. Number 2 is realizes the swarup of Bhagavan through the words of that son. That's number 2. Performs dhyan on the swarup of Bhagavan. And that's number 3. And takes Bhagavan's words in his heart. Then the Karan body attached to his jeev is burnt completely. So there's 4 ways to eradicate this Karan body, this hard drive that we're all, that's encompassing our soul. So first way, Hardik, what was the first way Maharaj said that we can eradicate this body, the Karan body?
Saint. Yeah, if you have a Brahminic saint.
A Brahmin saint?
That's what it says in here.
Oh, probably like Brahma, sorry. Yeah. So company of a saint. Yeah, company of a saint, right? So what does that mean? What does a company of a saint mean? Sit next to Swamiji all day long? What?
So follow and listen to what he says, because it says the saint is a true exponent of the knowledge of God. So, in that sense, when you're listening to whatever that person's saying, you're actually listening to it like the words of God. Like it's God really telling you that.
Okay. Anyone else? What is the company of a saint? What does that mean? When you're in a company of someone, what does that mean? How many times can we, or how many ways can we accompany someone?
By being a student.
Like being a student, right? No, but in terms of 3 different ways, and Agnes sang a bhajan, and there's this line, it's one of my favorite lines, right? Man karma vachane uthai reitai. You can accompany someone in 3 different ways, mostly. With your mind, with your actions, and vachan, meaning with your speech. So a lot of times when we say, we need to be in the company of a saint, we usually just mean the physical company. But we forget about the other 2. So if we encompass all 3 of these, mind, karma, vachan, and that's where the divinity comes in. We say, okay, pragat bhagwan viraja. Physically, yeah, we see a murti. That's probably physical, but the divineness. This is the concept of omnipresence, right? The divineness is there at all times. So if you take him everywhere you go, anything that you do, in your mind, in your actions, in your speech, his company will always be present. Once you have that company, it'll be very easy for us to understand, to digest what he's trying to tell us, because now there's that love, that bond that is created. You will start having faith in him. So whatever he tells you, you'll believe. When we go to school, right? The professor, we have trust in him. We have faith in him to teach us something. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But we have given him that trust. We have given him our trust. That when we sit on a plane, we've given him our trust. And that trust is what in turn affects us and how we come to the understanding, how we come to the same level as they are. And then, so that's why Maharaj said, first the company of a son. With that company, you move on to understanding the swarup of Bhagavan. You cannot do it on its own. it's really amazing the way he's, he goes it step by step. I read it in the past, but I never understood it this way. But so then the next question is, what is the Swarup of Bhagavan? I forgot your name. Yes. What do you think the Swarup of Bhagavan is? Simple question. And, anyone else want to know? Part? What's up? The Swarup of Bhagavan.
Greatness.
Okay, that's one way of describing it, absolutely. Greatness of God. Okay. Anyone else? We've discussed this, I think, several times. How do we understand the root of Bhagavan? Knowledge of. Okay. Anyone? What does that mean? So so basically I'm asking for a description of God. Can someone describe God for me?
Isn't that exactly how it looks right
How does he look? But so this is just a physical form. I'm trying to get into the. We have 3 bodies. Does he have 3 bodies? No. So this is probably his stool form, right? But in his case, everything's divya, so we won't question that. But so this is one way of describing it. He's got 2 hands, two legs, 2 eyes. He's got divine stage coming out of him. Another way is to describe his characteristics. What are his characteristics? In Sastra, they mentioned 39 different characteristics of Bhagavan. Unfortunately, I don't know them all at this time, but so that's another way. And the third way is Vatsal said, rightfully so, the greatness of God. And that's one of the 39 characteristics, but that he's in everything in every little individual. And if we understand it thoroughly from all different directions, then we can really realize the Swarup of God. And then that divinity will always be present. So this is step number 2. So now we've formed a bond with Bhagavan, or first with the Son, who has helped us form a bond with Bhagavan. So what's next? Now Bhagavan is telling us to have faith in his words. And his words are Vachraman, Sikshapatri, Satsangi Jivan. So mind you, if you cannot form a bond with the Son, therefore you will not be able to form a bond with Bhagavan. And until you form that bond, you are not going to be able to understand what the scriptures tell us, and you're not going to take that to your heart. And Bhagavan says take it to the heart. Don't just take it to your mind. That's different. You have to take it all the way to your heart. Whatever he says, it is the utter truth. There's nothing else. So if he says waking up early, it's before sunrise, it's the best way to go, and it is. Whether you believe it or not, that's your fault. But these are the words that he wants us to take into our soul. And then once we have all of these 3 things, then he says to do dhyana. Then we will not have to actively do dhyana. We will be doing dhyana pretty much 24/7. There's 4 different types of dhyana. We'll just briefly touch up on it, so we know. Sang is just Bhagavan. Bhagavan is only wearing like a dhoti and no other shangar or nothing else. Upang is when he has nice shangar, right? And then there's Leeladhan, where it's Bhagavan and his close Hari Bhaktos. And I think the fourth one is like extended version of Leela Dhyan, if I'm not mistaken, with Haribhakta was all like a little distant away and you're doing all the, Bhagwan's doing all the Leela. So once we understand the Rupa Bhagwan, the words of Bhagwan, do you think it's going to be very difficult for us to do Dhyan of Bhagwan? No. Then automatically, that's all we're going to do. Any actions that we do, going back to the Man Karma Vacha, with the mind, we're going to pretty much, think of Bhagwan. When we eat, we're going to think of Bhagwan. There's a picture posted today of Vichal Maharaj in the swing. When we go play, we're going to take him. When you guys are cruising in about a week or two, think of Bhagwan. You're going to be, Bhagwan is with you. He's in the ship. That's Dhyan. That is the way to eradicate this mind. The only way, Bhagwan says. There's no other way to do it. So he gives us 4 different ways, but ultimately, I think it's only one way. At the end of the day, right? So, and then he gives an example of a tamarind seed. Kachuko. I don't know if you guys have seen kachuko, right? The seed of a tamarind. Have you seen it? Amli no seed, right? If you try to take the brown, the outer brown layer off, you're not going to be able to. You have to roast it, and once you roast it, it'll come off easily. It'll just go like that. That way, this Maya, this God and Sharir, it's wrapped around our soul, like that seed of the Amli. If we try to peel it off, we're never going to be able to. But you have to roast it. And the method of roasting is the 4 methods, or ultimately one method that Bhagwan just gave us. It is 10 o'clock. We still have 10 points on it. I guess we'll stop. Right? Depends on you guys.
Doesn't matter to me.
Alright, I guess we'll keep going then. So that was like the first half of Vachanamrita, how to eradicate Maya. And as we understood, there's one way. You have Sthur Sukshma Karan. I'm going to ask questions afterwards about the Sthur Sukshma Karan, right? So now moving on to the second half, let's now understand the 3 different gun. Sattva gun, Rajo gun, and Tamo gun. As I said, this is a kind of difficult Vachanamrita, difficult to understand and to explain, but we'll try. Sattva gun, to make it simple, is the better of the 3. Having no gun is the best. Sattva gun is the better of the 3. So when we say 3 gunatit or gunati par, right? Gunatitanand Swami, that he has no gun. So if हम संतो होय